And I think, and I've always felt like this playing centre-back, when you have someone alongside you that knows you so well, they know your traits, they know the times when you'll think, I think I can steal this here, and you might take a risk. The seamlessness in which you can anticipate and cover for one another, you can't quantify that. You can't quantify that with when you play with someone you've never played with, or you play with someone that doesn't know how you communicate. They don't know the tone of your voice. You know, when you say, deal with that, they know when you need to deal with that because you're under pressure. They know when you've got time because you learn to communicate. And so for me, it's the pairing. The pairing makes them exceptional. Then they have the momentum of players around them. Then on top of that, they have the competitiveness every single day. For every single one of the players in that team, pretty much, I think Gabriel knows he's going to play every game if he's fit. But you got to be on it. You got to be on it. You got to get we got to get better every day. And I think Man City are similar and have been similar for a long time. That ability to do that, there are not many other teams that have that. Most other teams in the Premier League, you know, their best 11, and the drop off. There's a drop off in most positions. Some you might have 2 or 3 positions that like for like, but for Arsenal, I think they've such an advantage, and that centre-back pairing for me is it's a language. And the goalkeeper behind them now too adds to that.
And they have.
What about the leaders, Arsenal, then? Mikel Arteta insists they are open to doing business this month, whether that's bringing in a player on a permanent or loan deal.
We are open to every option. Obviously, we can find a solution that is short, medium, and long. It's always much better because it gives you stability and you don't have to constantly start a process with a new player. But let's see what happens. Let's see what the news are in the next few weeks, and we will try to make the right decision.
Again, a very interesting balancing act of, do you want that one player who might carry you over the line and deliver that Premier League title, or do you want to potentially risk just upsetting the apple cart a little bit?
It's felt like in recent transfer windows that Arsenal have risked upsetting the apple cart when you consider the players they brought in when they've been in a position of strength. You go back to signing David Raya when Aaron Ramsdale had a really good season for Arsenal. And in the summer, I think they surprised us with what they did in the defensive areas when they brought in Christian Mosquera and Piero Hincapié. But it's paid off because Arsenal have suffered with injuries. They've had 127 injury-related player appearances missed this season. 18 players have missed at least one Premier League match. So I think if they see a market opportunity, they see a player that ideally they were looking at for the summer and getting in January, then they'll try and do it. But I would be surprised if they look to do anything in this transfer window, especially with players like Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz returning from injury. It feels like the strongest squad in the Premier League right now. But Arsenal have shown time and time again, even whilst they look strong on paper, whilst they've got players in every single position of the pitch, 2 players in every single position of the pitch, if they see someone they think can help them towards this first Premier League title since 2004, then they will look to do something.
Whilst we have seen injuries at Arsenal giving opportunities to others this season, not necessarily Ethan Nwaneri, just 6 sub-appearances in the Premier League. So what might this month hold for him?
I honestly don't think he'll end up going anywhere, because Mikel Arteta will be saying to everyone, I don't want to lose any players. This represents my best ever opportunity to win a Premier League title. We have on paper the strongest squad in the Premier League. We've got a little bit of daylight between us and Manchester City at the moment. And any injuries that occur in the second phase of the season, when you are into the latter stages of cup competitions and you are in the business end of the season, the last thing you want to do is loan someone out who, it might be right for Ethan Nwaneri to go and get game time, but what happens if they suffer a couple of injuries and suddenly they're down to the bare bones in a position and they think, well, we shouldn't have let him go on loan. Yes, it was the right thing to do for the player, but was it the right thing to do for Arsenal Football Club? And right now he'll be saying, I don't want anyone to leave the building because the players that are here understand what we're about, understand the philosophy. I don't have to re-coach anyone that comes in. I don't have to worry. Just keep it as it is. If we can add to it, fine. But they won't want to risk upsetting what they've got. And that's a really talented squad that is capable now, it feels like, at the halfway stage of the Premier League campaign to get the job done. If the first half of the season is replicated, Arsenal are going to be Premier League champions.
What about the team that...
Dan Gosling. So look, Arsenal are in a great position. They've got a deep squad that has been doing the business. If you're Mikel Arteta, do you stick with what you've got or do you try and bring something in Jan?
Really difficult. Dharmesh said if a unique opportunity came along, then they'll be there, like every top club should be. Semenyo is a unique opportunity, I believe.
Are you surprised they didn't move on that?
I am, but at the same time, they are well stocked in wide areas. They're well stocked through the middle. Gabby Jesus has just come back, started scoring. They've got Kai Havertz on the verge of coming back. So there's another 2 attackers where arguably they could get in the starting 11. So I'm not totally surprised because there's just no room for him. Maybe if they sold one and got him in, I believe they could have done that. Possibly Trossard, maybe. There was links last year with Trossard. He ended up staying.
I mean, arguably there's no room for him at City, but Pep's stockpiling him as well.
yeah, I agree. I think the difference is Arsenal's wingers are contributing a lot of goals. To take someone out, Saka plays no matter what. Obviously, Gyökeres they've spent big money on, so he normally plays. It's just the left-hand side, and Martinelli and Trossard have rotated. That's probably the side where if anywhere, I would see Semenyo. But at the same time, Martinelli's young, he's improving all the time. Trossard gets really important goals. Important goals.
I was going to say, Trossard's had a great season this
so
year. You've got Eberechi Eze as well, who can play out on the left that they spent quite a lot in. Dan was going to ask you, being in a changing room during a transfer window, a team that's doing so well, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League, is there a risk that if you do bring someone in, it could just disturb things a little bit?
Yeah, there is that. I think if Semenyo did go to, say, an Arsenal, I think that the 2 guys on the left would be a little bit concerned and think, where's my game time coming? So it can upset it a little bit. So I don't see Arsenal moving for Semenyo, to be honest. I think in another window, in maybe the summer possibly, where they'd have more time to sort the squad out. But at this moment in time, and the other caveat is people don't want to leave Arsenal right now.
Yeah.
They're on the verge of winning the Premier League for the first time in 15, 20 years. So, why would you want to leave when you're playing a big part in the squad?
And it's hard to argue against what we just mentioned there, this Arsenal squad being the strongest in Premier League history. I mean, look, the Invincibles were incredible, but as a squad and as a group of players and 2 and 3 in every position now, James, but where if they did look to strengthen, and we've heard this phrase twice over the last 5 minutes, this unique opportunity, positionally, where would they be weakest in looking?
Well, look, unique opportunities come and go. Look, these clubs have plans throughout. They have plans for a year, 2 years, 3 years in advance. If a player that they're looking at maybe getting in the summer all of a sudden comes available in January and they think they can steal a march on one of their rivals, then they could potentially jump and do it. Arsenal are in that position to do that if they need to. If you talk about Arsenal's weak, look, it's very difficult to see a weakness in that squad. It is the deepest squad I've ever seen at Arsenal, ever. They've got replacements in every single position, players that Mikel Arteta now trusts, which was an issue previous seasons where he didn't trust those players to come in, hence why he had such a tight group to play so many minutes and so many games, led to a lot of injuries. I think the back line with obviously Mosquera's injury maybe leaves them maybe a little bit vulnerable at times, but still we've seen them cope without Gabriel, without Saliba. Ben White didn't play much, then he's come in. Timber's missed a couple of games. Calafiori's out, but you've got Lewis Skelly still there. You feel like with this Arsenal side, there are still 2 players in every single position, and they're not just like a squad player. They are 2 players that you feel could play for a lot of Premier League sides and do a wonderful job as well.
I know James is answering this, but just finally on Arsenal, on City, on Semenyo, on the title race, does the Semenyo signing, which looks like it's imminent for City, give them the advantage, do you think, in the title race, Dan?
I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to be really close. I see it as a 2-horse race. Villa are doing fantastic, and that they could add as well with a couple departing. But I don't see them lasting. I think you could see the gulf in quality the other night when Arsenal played them. I think they overran them in the end. After Villa's strong start, they could have went 1 or 2 up, to be honest. But in the end, I think that the quality's shown. Semenyo gives Man City more goals.
Is that a fence you're sitting on there, Dan?
I still believe City will actually come back and win it, to be honest.
Got there in the end, Dan. Right, still to come on Good Morning Transfers. We're going to be discussing
over Aston Villa in a run where they've been, lucky with own goals. They've had penalties. This was something else.
Well, I'll tell you what I thought when I watched this game. Look at the way that there is no tackle on any Arsenal player as they come in to score these goals. The space that they're given as well. To my mind, including the first goal where the goalkeeper just completely falls to pieces. This is an Aston Villa side for me that suffered stage fright on the night. Big match, crucial game. Had they won, they could have drawn level on points with Arsenal, and they froze. It was as if they were more used to seeing off sides where the pressure was all on the opposition. than this one, because I think for them this was a real opportunity. That performance, particularly defensively, was inexplicable from what I've seen so far this season, particularly from an Unai Emery side as well that is normally so well organised. I expect them to bounce back this weekend because they play Forest. They've won their last 10 games at home. They'll be good against Forest again, but I just think they almost flew too close to the defensive sun this weekend, in midweek against Arsenal, and they'll just be glad it's behind them.
I want to talk about Arsenal because they are playing Bournemouth, and stick with the defenders question now that Rachel is okay with it and okay with me talking about that game. Gabriel Magalhaes, that game showed me just how important he is to this team.
Yeah, but also I think one of the things is they have so much competition everywhere, and that ups your level in training every day. You know, we talk about making incremental gains. They are absolutely better with Gabriel.
Yeah.
He is, for me this season, the best centre-back in the Premier League, maybe in Europe. His contribution at both ends is absolutely remarkable. And I think his relationship with Saliba as well has flourished. But
What's he do? Well, what is it that Gabriel? Why is he so good?
Well, I think the relationship for me is the key part. And I think, and I've always felt this playing centre-back, when you have someone alongside you that knows you so well, they know your traits, they know the times when you'll think, I think I can steal this here, and you might take a risk. The seamlessness in which you can anticipate and cover for one another, you can't quantify that. You can't quantify that with when you play with someone you've never played with, or you play with someone that doesn't know how you communicate. They don't know the tone of your voice. You know, when you say, deal with that, they know when you need to deal with that because you're under pressure. They know when you've got time because you learn to communicate. And so for me, it's the pairing. The pairing makes them exceptional. Then they have the momentum of players around them. Then on top of that, they have the competitiveness every single day, where every single one of the players in that team, pretty much, I think Gabriel knows he's going to play every game if he's fit. They got to be on it. You got to be on it. You got to get better. We got to get better every day. And I think Man City are similar and have been similar for a long time. That ability to do that, there are not many other teams that have that. Most other teams in the Premier League, you know, their best 11, and the drop off. There's a drop off in most positions. Some team might have 2 or 3 positions that like for like, but for Arsenal, I think they've such an advantage, and that centre-back pairing for me is it's a language. And the goalkeeper behind them now too adds to that.
And they haven't had that centre-back pairing in a long time, which brings me to my next question and probably the final one on this game. Arsenal's injuries. I know everyone talks about their squad and their squad depth, but their injuries, do you think there's a bigger problem this season? Because again, the Aston Villa game without Declan Rice, who was injured, they haven't had their first choice centre-back for many, many weeks now. You know, the defence has chopped and changed. Nearly everyone's played at left-back or right-back in this team. I mean, does it point to a bigger issue for you?
No, I'm the opposite, actually. I think it points to a triumph of their recruitment, because there hasn't been a drop-off, as you say, in quality when other players have come in to deputise. And the fact that they were able to win so convincingly without Rice, that will also have been a psychological boost for them too. With the players coming back, Gabriel came back. We saw he took his T-shirt off. I belong to Jesus. And he was very bullish about his religion, his faith, because it has been a long, dark tunnel for him. But he's been able to come back and make that statement. And there'll be other players that are coming back as well. What will be interesting this next 6 months, 5 months, is Arsenal have got players back. City have Rodri back. That's what makes this such a fascinating final few furlongs, because obviously Rodri for them is influential, but the 2 centre-halves are pivotal. The goalkeeper as well, world-class saves in the last couple of matches. It's going to be a fascinating 5 months.
And we will be here all the way to the end to see it through. Now, we're moving on to a fierce Lancashire-Yorkshire rivalry, and Leeds United against Manchester United. It's a fixture where pride is always on the line, as both sets of fans demand victory.